Trouble Busters!
My name is Helen. I got married to my husband Aaron a few years ago, and we both work full-time. One day, when I was on my way to work by car, I got into an accident in the parking lot at work. I got to the parking lot, as usual, and was trying to find a parking space. Okay, no one is close to my car, so I can safely put my car in reverse and park. As I was parking the car, another car came into my view. No, that car is coming too close. The car saw that I was trying to park, yet it kept on coming toward me. Because of that, my car and the other car ran into each other. Be careful! Look what you did to my car! The woman that came out of her car was wearing an expensive and snobbish-looking outfit. I'm sorry, I couldn't see your cheap, small car in my view. What's wrong with your eyesight? That's not something you say to someone you just met. What do you want me to say? Well, you can start by acknowledging the fact that you bumped into my car and created a dent. Oh, do I? Sorry about that. I'm not going to forgive you that easily, especially with your attitude. Oh, look, my car is scratched too. This is going to be much more expensive for me. It was your choice to buy that expensive car. Let's call the police and our insurance companies about this accident. When I mentioned the police, the woman's attitude changed suddenly. Why involve the police? It's just a small dent. Why are you acting like a victim here? Because I'm a victim. Who are you anyway? This parking lot belongs to the company that I work for, and I don't think you work there. What? You don't know who I am? Why would I know who you are? We just met for the first time a few minutes ago. I am the wife of the department director of this company. You mean Mr. Thompson? Yes, that's right. You're just an employee, right? What would people think when they see how rude you're being to me? You could get fired for the rude behavior. But the accident is clearly your fault, isn't it? If you don't want to call the police or the insurance companies, you could at least offer to pay for the damages to my car. Did you not just hear me say that my husband is the department director? How dare you ask me to pay for the damages? You should be the one paying for the scratches on my luxury car. You can't be serious. You're giving me a headache. I came to deliver the lunch that I handmade for my husband. It has caviar, foie gras, and truffles. It's so tasteless of you to brag about the expensive ingredients in your husband's lunch. Did you just call me tasteless? I don't care what you packed for your husband's lunch. I'm going to call the police. Go ahead. I'm going to inform my husband of what you're about to do. I don't mind. Mr. Thompson's wife took the lunch that she had prepared and entered the company building. I then called the police and my insurance company. After the police arrived, they asked for Mr. Thompson's wife to come to the scene. She came, accompanied by her husband. I guess she really did rat me out. How immature of her.
Ellen, did you bump into my wife's car with your car?
No, I didn't. I was trying to park my car, and your wife came out of nowhere and bumped her car into mine. You're lying! It seems that you have contrasting views, so let's check the security footage. There was a security camera in the parking lot, so it would be obvious whose fault the accident was as soon as we check the footage. I also have recordings on my dash cam. After checking the footage, it became apparent that Mr. Thompson's wife had crashed her car into mine. Wow, you're coming at quite a speed, Mrs. Thompson. You had no idea that Helen was trying to park her car at that moment. Are you implying that this is my fault? Well, the footage says it all.
If you were going to blame this on my wife, we'll be seeing you in court. Let the court decide whose fault it is.
Yes, that's fine by me. How can you be so confident? You could get fired if you upset my husband. Laugh all you want.
You do understand that I have the authority to fire you, right? We can let you off if you apologize to us now.
Darling, can't we just fire her now? Do you plan to fire me because I'm a nuisance to you? Mr. Thompson, I'm sure you wouldn't do that to me.
It'll be easy for us to find a replacement for you. Let's settle this in court. You've wasted my precious lunchtime.
Fine, I'll see you in court. I don't think the accident was Helen's fault, but I can't say anything because I'm an outsider. The Thompsons had no intention of apologizing to me for what Mrs. Thompson had done to my car, and they were set on going to court. If that's how they want to settle this, game on. I won't forgive them. Trouble busters. I brought a strong ally with me to the court. I had no intention of losing. At court, the Thompsons were waiting for my arrival. Nice to see you again, Helen. You'll regret that you picked a fight with me. Nice to see you too, Mrs. Thompson. Let's settle this, once and for all. Our court trial began. Once the trial began, Mr. Thompson became very nervous. This was because the lawyer representing me was one of our corporate lawyers.
Why is our corporate lawyer representing Helen?
It turns out that the corporate lawyer is my husband, Aaron. Mrs. Thompson was bragging about the fact her husband is the department director, but my husband is the corporate lawyer. Of course, Mr. Thompson did not know this.
Let me talk about the details of the accident. The dashcam and security footage show that the accident was caused by Mrs. Thompson.
The Thompsons and their lawyer were speechless.
On top of that, Mrs. Thompson tried to blame the victim and even threatened Helen that she would be fired from the company. Do you think that will get you off in threatening an innocent person?
To this, the Thompsons couldn't say anything. The judge ruled that the accident was completely the fault of Mrs. Thompson. The evidence showed that Mrs. Thompson's car crashed into mine. There was no denying it. After the trial, the Thompsons visited our house to apologize. What brings you to my house? You can't try to butter me up.
Oh, shit. Is it that obvious? What I mean to say is, I'm sorry about what we did to you.
I know that your apology is not sincere.
My wife panicked when she caused the accident. She didn't mean to blame you. Right, honey?
Yes, that's right. Mrs. Thompson was unconvinced as she was clearly in a bad mood.
Darling!
Why do I have to apologize? I can't believe that we lost in court. Wow, she must be really stupid.
My wife feels bad about what happened.
It doesn't seem that way to me.
Can we settle this amicably, please? I mean, we still have to work together and all.
What does this have to do with the accident? You're trying to butter me up.
Darling, I want you to apologize for what you did.
Why should I? Our car was scratched too, you know.
Come on, apologize, dear.
Mr. Thompson tried to get his wife to apologize to me. Sorry. I couldn't hear your apology. Mr. Thompson asked me not to mention the accident anymore at work. Mrs. Thompson stood next to her husband with her arms crossed and looking annoyed. What a couple.
What's going on out here?
Oh, we're sorry about the inconvenience we caused the other day. We brought these for you. They were made by a famous pastry chef. They're made with caviar, foie gras, and truffles.
That combination does not sound good.
So, Helen, let's see each other back at work and put the accident behind us.
Mr. Thompson left our house with his unhappy wife. A few days later, Mr. Thompson was nowhere to be seen at the workplace. The company had found out about the accident caused by Mrs. Thompson and how Mr. Thompson had tried to cover it up by threatening to fire me if I told anyone about it. If Mrs. Thompson had owned up about the accident in the first place, none of this would have happened. Well, Mr. Thompson had a bad reputation of his own, and people at work found him to be threatening. Many were happy to see him go. One day, as Aaron and I were out for a stroll, we happened to see the Thompsons. Aren't those the Thompsons? They're going into a used car shop.
It looks like they are considering buying a small used car.
I wonder what happened to the luxury car that they were so proud of. We don't know what happened to them, but the Thompsons looked tired and worn out. They didn't have the proud demeanor that they had before. Apparently, they had sold their luxury car and were replacing it with an old, rundown car. If only they had apologized to me sincerely from the start. I look at them as a lesson to be learned. If I'm ever in their position, I'd be the kind of person that can apologize for my mistakes without making any excuses for myself. Of course, the best thing to do is not have an accident in the first place. Trouble busters!